Hello, it's Anthony Self with Auction.com, bringing to our agent partners a series of tips of how to work with investors. This is a live event where Rick Sharga, our Chief Marketing Officer for 10X, presented to a group of agents on how to work with investors. We hope you like this tip. Our third tip is, if you want to work with investors, you have to understand some of that financial lingo that goes along with investment property. Rick gives you some of the terms you should look at and also where you can find out more information on how to become savvy with the financial lingo.
And if you're in this business, you're going to have to learn a second language. It's not Spanish or Chinese, although that might not hurt depending on what market you're serving in. It's investorese. So instead of talking about commissions, instead of talking about a lovely fixer-upper located in a beautiful neighborhood, you're going to be talking about things like ROI, and you're going to be talking about things like cap rates, and you're going to be talking about cash flow and gross rent multipliers and gross profits versus net profits and what constitutes those things. We're not going to get into all that today. These are some of the terms that you will need to use. If you're in the commercial space, cap rates are incredibly important. And it's a little bit of a complex discussion because it's essentially the money you're earning on the money costs that you're committing to buying and paying for the properties. Two really good sites for you that I recommend. One is a site called Investopedia, and when I need a simple definition of a complex investment term, that's the first place I go to look. So Investopedia is a great resource. The other is a site called Investability, and it's really oriented for investors to use to help them determine the return opportunities on individual properties. Both of these are really good sites. You can also go to some of the investor training programs that are out there. We'll talk a little bit about that as we go forward. But to make yourselves as credible as possible when you're talking to investors really helps to be talking their language. So you have to understand the terminology that really is most meaningful to them.